Hello everybody, it's Stefan from General Warfare. Just want to welcome you guys to 2022. Like I mentioned to you guys a couple of weeks ago, I was taking a 2-week break and I'm back at it for the first video of the year. And this is going to be a very short one today. However, I want to provide something for you guys this week. So we're going to be taking a look at some predictions for Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Now, I'm going to be doing my own reactions from the spoilers that we have right now on MTG Spoiler. So with that, these are my honest reactions to it, and I'll just be giving you a rundown of what my predictions will be for the remainder of the set going into spoiler season. Hopefully that's gonna be like next week or something like that. But anyways, here we go. I'm on MTG Spoilers, and let's take a look at the first one, Junji The Midnight Sky. Okay, let's see what we got here. So we have a 5/5 for 3 black, Flying Menace. Not bad. Okay, and then the ability when Junji dies, choose one. Each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life. Put target non-dragon creature card from the graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose 2 life. Interesting. I kind of like this card. Keep in mind, these cards are not confirmed yet for Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, so I'm going off the stuff that we have spoiled for MTG Spoilers. Having Junji die multiple times, you putting target non-dragon creature from the graveyard to the battlefield, not bad. Trying to think of possible combinations you could put with Junji, so I'm assuming something like maybe an Ashnod's Altar to this, you add a Mimic Vat to this, you can make this kind of like Junji Death Triggers, and then you add a bunch of ETBs or LTB triggers to this kind of deck. And then the second option you have is for each opponent to discard 2 cards and lose 2 life. So I'm wondering how you can factor that one in as well. Maybe you add 1 or 2 cards to this, like Siphon Mine, where you have your opponent's discard cards and you drawing extra cards, something around the lines of that. That one, the next one we're looking at is Goro Goro, Disciple of Ryusei. Again, these are not confirmed cards, so let's take a look at what we got here. 2/2 for what looks to be 1 and a red legendary goblin samurai, if I'm reading that right. 2/2 for 1 red, creatures you control gain haste till end of turn. And then for 3 red, create a 5/5 red dragon spirit creature token with flying. You only activate it only if you attack with an attacking modified creature. Attacking modified creature. I'm curious what they mean by that. I guess he gives himself haste for an extra red mana. Like you basically play him for 2 mana, you have a red available, and you just use it to give him haste. Or if you have a bunch of creatures enter the battlefield, like let's just say you have Goro Goro and you have Krenko making a bunch of creatures, or Krenko entering the battlefield, you give Krenko haste, you make a bunch of other goblins, because Krenko would be able to see Goro Goro because he is also a goblin as well, so you're adding an extra goblin to your forces. The 3 red, creating a 5/5 red dragon. I'm curious what they mean by attacking modified creature. Next one I'm going to look at is Light Paws, Emperor's Voice. I did get a chance to look at this card a little bit earlier, maybe a couple of days before, and so far I'm really liking the design. So it's basically a 2/2 for 2 mana. It's a Fox Advisor. I don't think we've seen too many Fox Advisors in Magic, so this is kind of exciting. The ability itself is I like a lot. So whenever an aura enters the battlefield under your control, if you cast it, you may search your library for an aura card with mana value less than or equal to that aura with a different name than each aura you control. You put that card into the battlefield attached to Light Paws, and then you shuffle. So you just run a bunch of auras, it looks like, and basically every single time you cast an aura, you can't get recursions, and it comes back, and then you get the ability. It has to be cast auras. So with that, you search your library for another aura and you less than or equal to that aura with a different name. So this card screams commander right off the bat. So Light Paws, I'm assuming you run like this as an aura or enchantress, some type deck. Something around the lines of that, and then you add like all that glitters you add in the deck. You can add in Angelic Destiny as well, and then it'll trigger Light Paws. I really think this could be a very fun commander. I'm gonna predict that this is gonna be one of the favorites coming out of Neon Dynasty. That's just my personal belief. That's my personal prediction. And it doesn't say that this is not confirmed, so I think that Light Paws is confirmed in the set. So we're gonna wait and see once the official spoilers come out. But yes, Light Paws so far is a winner in my books. Next is Mukotai Soul Ripper. This is also an unconfirmed card. So, and a vehicle for 1 in a black. When it attacks, you may sacrifice another artifact or creature. If you do, you put a +1/+1 counter on Kotai Soul Ripper, and it gains menace until end of turn, and crew 2. So I guess that this is just, I figured with Neon Dynasty there's going to be, and it being about 2,000 years much more advanced than what the original Kamigawa block was. I'm assuming that there's going to be a lot of technological advancements, so having vehicles in here does make sense. So I'm curious to see what kind of fodder we could put in a vehicle deck, I guess. I feel like this, either this would go in a vehicle deck, or you could also make a judgment that Kodai could be run in a Junji deck, considering you just screw with Junji and then you basically could sacrifice it and get that recursion or that discard trigger off, it seems like. Kamigawa Transients is next. So this is also another unconfirmed card, but for 2 mana, it's a 1 and a green 2/2 spirit with trample. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Kami at the beginning of each end step. If an enchantment was put into the graveyard from the battlefield this turn, you may return Kami from your graveyard to your hand. So seems like this is not a good, and I don't know if this would be a great addition to say in an Enchantress deck. Maybe something in standard or something like limited would probably benefit off this card, but I feel like in Commander this doesn't seem like an amazing card to put in an Enchantress kind of style deck. You're only getting +1/+1 counters on the Kami. You're not getting anything extra on top of it. Plus any one of your enchantments gets put into your graveyard, it gets put back into your hand. I don't really think this would be an amazing card to run in an Enchantress deck. That's just my personal belief, but we'll see. We'll see where the rest of the set goes. Next is Enganjo Uprising. So X red and white sorcery. Create X 2/2 white samurai creature tokens with vigilance. They gain menace and haste until end of turn. And then each opponent creates X -1 2/2 white samurai creatures with vigilance. Yeah, it seems like you're just making an abundance of a samurai and you're giving your opponent samurai. The only reason I would functionally put this in a deck would probably be something if you're like cutting your opponent's like creature's toughness. Like if you added an Elish Norn to the deck, this would make a lot of sense for you to play, but I don't know. It just doesn't make sense in my head why they would print a card like this. Next up is Enganjo, Seat of the Empire. A legendary land that adds a white mana, but it also has the ability Channel. For 2 and a white, you discard Enganjo, Seat of the Empire. It deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. The ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So, I guess with this Enganjo, you basically would be running this in like a legendary all legendaries deck, maybe something around the lines of like Sisei Weatherlight Captain, where you're tutoring up a bunch of legendary creatures. Is 4 damage enough for this kind of card? I really feel it would be much better if it deals damage equal to the number of legendary permanents you control. I think that would be a lot more scary if that was the case. And maybe you add maybe 2 more generic mana to this, and it would make this card so much better. I just personally believe that they could have done a little bit more with this card. However, we'll see. Next one up is Flame Discharge, or Carica di Flama. X in a red instant where it deals X damage to target creature or planeswalkers. You deal X +2 damage if you cast a spell while controlling a modified creature. Okay, so it gives you a little bit of a rundown what it wants. So creatures that are equipped, enchanted, or have counters are modified. So anytime, it seems basically like it just burns one of your opponent's creatures or planeswalkers, and it deals 2 extra damage if you control a modified creature. Next one is Misumi Prowler. Black and a 1 for a 3/1 rat ninja with ninjutsu 1 and a black. Whenever Misumi Prowler enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains death touch and lifelink until end of turn. I'm guessing, well, it's Kamigawa, so there's going to be a bunch of ninjas in this deck, so it's not off flavor. With Misumi Prowler, I'm guessing you just ninjutsu this out, and then you make one of your bigger creatures gain death touch and lifelink, or one of your block creatures gain death touch and lifelink. Seems like a good instant speed interaction card that you could just flop on the board and basically just take control of the combat. I'm not sure if this doesn't seem confirmed either, so we'll just go by it, seeing as though like this might be a fun spoiler card. Next is Jukai Trainee. So whenever Jukai Trainee blocks or becomes blocked, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. It's common. I'm not gonna rag on it, but it's okay. It's not amazing. Next is the Kami War. So this is a lovely screen grab. So I guess this is the, I'm guessing there might be sagas with this. So, and this is also a dual-faced card, it looks like. So let's just try to read what this says. First one is exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls. The second is return up to one other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, then each opponent discards a card. And then 3, exile the saga and then return it to the battlefield, transformed under your controls. I'm guessing a 3-turn clock, but this flips over into Okagaji Made Manifest. So it's an enchantment dragon spirit, 6/6. It's all colors. It has flying and trample. When Okagaji Made Manifest attacks, defending player chooses a non-land card in your graveyard, return that card to your hand. Okagaji Made Manifest gets X+X+O until end of turn, where X is the mana value on that card. So this is not a legendary thing, so you can copy it multiple times and have multiple versions of Okagaji Made Manifest come onto the field. I guess it being 6 mana is justifiable for you to exile a non-land permanent, especially one in opponent controls. Having to wait 3 rotations to have Okagaji come onto the field might be a little bit rough. So if you have ways to flicker this, like a Ghostly Flicker or even Brago King Eternal, to flip this, like the turn it comes out, it makes much more sense, I would imagine, for it to flip. And then you get a gigantic Dragon Spirit, a 6/6 flying trample Dragon Spirit. Scary stuff. Next one up is Sarutoru Umazawa, a 2/4 for 1 black and blue legendary human ninja. Whenever you activate a ninjutsu ability, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. This ability triggers only once each turn, and each creature card in your hand has ninjutsu for 4, 2 blue and a black. When you activate the ability of a ninjutsu ability, I guess fitting this into a Yuriko deck might be a sound strategy, or it playing off itself might be fun. I don't know. I don't have any words. I don't have any thoughts for this one. It just seems really odd. I don't know why. It's just, I guess you just have Satoru, the commander, and then you fill it up with giant creatures, if that makes sense. So Satoru, and then you just... And then you have little weenie, combination of little weenies and big bonkers creatures in black and blue. I guess that's the way you play it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have something different. Next up is Hidetsugu, Devouring Chaos, a 4/4 for 3 black legendary ogre demon. A black mana and sacrifice a creature to scry 2, and then 2 in a red and tap him to exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. When you exile a non-land card this way, Hidetsugu Devouring Chaos deals damage equal to the exiled card's mana value to any target. That's not bad. It has a built-in way for you to find those non-land permanents for you to deal damage to any target, and it's any target too. So this hits planeswalkers too. Planeswalkers being a lot harder to hit than most of the creatures and players I find nowadays. Hidetsugu, I don't know. I think might be a fun little challenge. Maybe I might build him on Brewing. We'll see in the next couple of weeks when the set becomes released. I know Light Paws is a contender for a deck tech on this channel. Hidetsugu, I think, might be a fun deck as well to build. So if you have any thoughts on which commander I should build for the first, not only the first build of the year, but also the first build for Neon Dynasty, let me know in the comments down below. And you have all the multiple variations of Hidetsugu, from just regular black, you have, well, the neon black ink, you have neon red, green, blue, and yellow ink, and then you have the full art frame and then the regular card. Atsushi, the Blazing Sky, a 4/4 for 4 mana, 2 red legendary dragon spirit with flying and trample. When it dies, you choose one, exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards, and you create 3 treasure tokens. I feel like you can easily get a combo off with Atsushi here. Considering the last ability gives you 3 treasure tokens, even having a Mimic Vat. With Atsushi, you just create it, sacrifice, you get 3 treasure tokens. And then if you add in Grinding Station, just be able to get you that untap. The only problem is Mimic Vat is 3 mana and Atsushi gives you 3 treasure tokens. So we'll have to find a way to make this into an actual legit combo for Atsushi to give you infinite mana and infinite death triggers. Kaitos Shizuki. So a 3 loyalty planeswalker for 1 blue and a black. It seems like Dimir cards in this. So I'm curious as to how powerful Dimir is actually gonna get in this set. Beginning your end step, if it enters the battlefield this turn, it phases out. Okay, that's a good, interesting start. +1 loyalty, draw a card, then discard a card unless you attack this turn. -2 is create a 1/1 blue ninja creature token with this creature cannot be blocked, and its -7 is you get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, search your library for a blue or black creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Oh god, that's a scary emblem. Yeah, you're basically drawing cards, and I guess with with Kaito coming into play, whenever he phases out, he keeps the counters on him. Am I understanding that correctly? And then you get to draw. You get to draw each time you attack. This is gonna be something I'd be very wary of facing off against. Thankfully, he's not commander available. That would be so stupid. And then I think this might be the last one. The last one we're gonna take a look at today is Takuma Bannonmeyer. This is not going to be a great render on here, but we're going to take a look at it nonetheless. Takuma Bannonmeyer. You add a black. It's a legendary land and channel. You discard it to mill 3 cards and then return a creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. I'm assuming so. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. Okay, so it is the same thing like Enganjo. However, this one allows you to return a creature card to your hand by milling 3 cards. Or you mill 3 cards first and then return a card to your hand. So, might not be super bad. I think I like this one a little bit more than Enganjo, personally speaking. But we're going to see when the full set gets disclosed. That's going to be the video for today, guys. I hope you appreciate this first look into Kamigawa Neon Dynasty before spoiler season comes into play. So some of my predictions going into this is that there's going to be a lot of really interesting spoilers. There's already a lot of interesting spoilers for Black, so I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of very strong Black cards to come out of this set. 1, 2, there's going to be a lot of focus to ninjas, it looks like. And it looks like there's a lot of creatures. I guess there's a lot of LTB, or like leaving the battlefield triggers. I'm curious to see what the rest of the dragons in the set look like, but for now it looks like there's gonna be a lot of focus on dragons, well, on ninjas. There's gonna be a lot. It looks like Black has a very predominant color in this set, and I'm very curious to see what the rest of the legendary cards look like. So for that, thank you very much for watching. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. You know what to do, and I'll see you guys back here next week for a brand new video. So until then, guys, cheers, everybody.